Hello there, Charlotte Hawkins here. Welcome back to Leaps and Hounds, our dog training podcast in conjunction with the Dogs Trust. With me is Eloise, an animal behaviourist at the Dogs Trust. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And we're going to be talking about socialisation in this one, which is a really key thing, isn't it, when you get a puppy? And I was really conscious of it with Moose because you kind of want to make sure that they're used to lots of different environment, lots of different sounds, lots of different people. What are the things that people should really be focusing on when they get a puppy? What kind of stages are the most important ones to start tackling, and what should you do first?
Yeah, so the socialisation window is actually quite short. It usually starts from sort of 3 to 4 weeks old when they're still obviously with their mum and the breeder or the rescue. And it lasts up until around 12 weeks, sometimes up to 16 weeks, depending on the breed. So there is quite a short window when you get that puppy home. The key thing I would say to people though is it's not necessarily about abundance. It's not a rush against time to expose them to everything and everything.
Take it all off the list.
Exactly. Yeah. We just want to be making sure that we're exposing our puppy to things in a really nice, neutral and positive way. So allowing our puppies choice on whether they want to interact with something or not. So we're not going and flooding them, going, here's a whole bunch of people in a town centre and everyone's going to come say hi to you. It might be, we're going to sit on this bench on the side, you've got a little puppy chew and you can just experience the world going on around you. Mm-hmm. And then the other key thing is just watching your puppy's body language to make sure that we're recognising if they are uncomfortable.
Okay, and we'll talk about what signs to watch out for. So when it comes to those key things that you should be doing to socialise them, what would you say? I mean, obviously, you know, different people, what are the key things that you need to bear in mind?
Yeah, so we've got people, so that will be sort of meeting or seeing a range of people, and that can also include things like umbrellas and walking sticks and, you know, the stuff that's maybe a little bit more out of the norm. It might also be exposing them to things on wheels. That can be quite a big one. So that might be your traffic, bikes, pushchairs. It can be sounds, it can be handling, it can be dogs, it can be environments. Really, the list, you know, keeps going. One of the good things, actually, Dogs Trust does have like a puppy audio playlist on their website with lots of different sounds.
Oh, that's good to know.
So you can just start playing that around the house, you know, at a low level volume whilst your puppy's doing something fun, like a snuffle mat or something, and just start getting them used to sort of routine noises that they're probably gonna experience at some point.
So you don't need to go and get some fireworks to check that they're fireworks safe. No. Good to know in that case. And, you know, when it comes to sort of places to take them then, what would your advice be on that? Because, you know, you want them to be good in all sorts of different environments, but also at the same time, I suppose you don't want to overwhelm them with too much early on.
Exactly that, and I think it depends on your routine and your lifestyle, i.e. if you have to commute to places on public transport, this is probably going to be something that's quite important to get our puppy used to in the early stages. It might be like the groomers or the vets. Again, that's going to be an important one for the puppy to feel comfortable with. Some people are going to want to have a very rural lifestyle. They don't really want to go to pubs or cafes or public places. So, you know, it might be nice just to get our puppy experience with those things for in case. However, the people who are living in sort of busier town centres and that kind of thing, it's going to be more important. So we might want to be taking them to busier places, but again, just making sure we're doing it at a nice safe distance, watching our dog, making sure they're having a good positive time.
One thing I realised was that sometimes they can have quite strange reactions to things. I mean, like vacuum cleaners, for example, which I kind of got the fact that he might be a bit scared of the noise, or he might think, what on earth is this? But he just wanted to attack the vacuum cleaner. I don't quite know how you get over stuff like that, but maybe sometimes is that if it's just something new. He has got better the more, is this how often I hoover my house maybe, but he has got more used to it, I think, the more he's seen it. But sometimes they do have quite sort of strong reactions to certain things, don't they?
They do, yeah, and some things are going to be more challenging. So vacuum cleaning, hair dryers, things that are really noisy. So if we do think that maybe they're going to be a little bit worried by it, we can just help them out by going, okay, I do need to put the Hoover on, but maybe I'm going to just wheel it round without the noise sort of playing at this point. Or perhaps when you do then go to Hoover, they're in their nice safe location and they've got a nice lick mat or a chew or something to keep them busy. Again, obviously the most important thing is if they are having like an adverse reaction, if they are being worried, we stop what we're doing because we don't want to poison that thing and sort of create a fear.
Okay, so let's talk now then about the signs to look out for when you can spot early on that your dog isn't comfortable. I mean, I took Moose to the school playground for pickup one time because all of my daughter's friends wanted to meet him, of course, and I just kind of thought, oh, there'll be a few of her friends there. But as soon as you have a puppy somewhere, quite often people will just descend, especially when it's children. And I kind of managed the situation because I had him in like a little area where I was right next to him and then made sure that they didn't kind of crowd him. But what signs would you say to watch out for to make sure that they are happy in every situation?
Yeah, so I think most sort of people can recognise when a dog is really worried with that tucked tail, the really obvious signs of them cowering or backing away. But there is a lot more sort of subtle signs that we can pick up on. So things like the ears going slightly back, like a furrowed brow, maybe the whites of their eyes showing. Or sometimes dogs would display these things, they're known as displacement behaviours. So they're very normal dog behaviours, but in a slightly weird context. So if your puppy has just woken up from a nap and they do a big stretch and a big yawn, completely normal. If you're out in a busy playground, everyone's trying to say hello, and your puppy does a really big yawn, probably not tired. It's the same as us being a bit uncomfortable and playing with our hair, or, do you know what I mean, doing something to try and help us feel a bit better or sort of regulate ourselves. So that could be a yawn, it could be like sudden sniffing, sort of away from something that's trying to interact with them. It can be suddenly sitting down and scratching their neck. All really normal behaviours, but just a little bit out of context.
And what would you do? Would you take them out of that situation, a bit of time out, and then take them back? Or would you kind of go, okay, that's it, we'll try this another day? You know, how would you judge it?
Yeah, entirely up to you and entirely up to the puppy as well. So if they've come away, they've done a little bit of a shake off, they're now looking a little bit more sprightly, we can give them that option to go back and interact again if they want to. If they're sort of going, no thank you, I'm going to keep walking this way, they've got no interest in coming back to that thing, I would sort of go, okay, it's your choice, we're going to come away. To create sort of confident adult dogs, the most important thing is giving puppies choices to go, if you don't want to interact with something, you don't have to, and that's okay. And that will stop them from needing to escalate their communication signals when they go, no, enough is enough.
And one other thing to do with sort of, I know you mentioned vets earlier and kind of getting them used to taking them to the vet and being comfortable with that is an important thing. And one thing that I did early on that was recommended was to make sure that you kind of, run your hands down their legs, you're touching their ears, you're touching their teeth in a managed way, aren't you? So like when they do have to go to the vets, or if there is something wrong with them, that they're used to being handled like that? Yeah,
definitely. And I've seen this a lot actually of people sort of trying to sort of habituate their puppies to get them used to handling, but they'll just do like little fusses, and then suddenly they go to a vet and they're being held in a formal way, or they're being placed onto a table. So, you know, I'm not saying we need to go in and restrain our puppies, but it might be nice to do sort of like gentle collar touches just to keep them still whilst a vet is going to sort of touch them all over. Like you said, checking their teeth, properly looking inside their ears, maybe even asking them to get onto a platform or something like that if they're a smaller dog and they are going to need to go on a vet table. But again, the most important thing is just watching that body language. We don't want to be overwhelming them or flooding them in any way. We just want to make it a nice normal thing that happens and nothing to be feared.
Another key thing is travelling in the car. And I think, because, you know, I was so used to with my other dog that she didn't mind the car at all, zip her up in a carry case, she was absolutely happy. And what I completely didn't take on board is that, you know, I just was trying to put Moose in the carry case, who was then fighting against me saying, what on earth are you doing, trying to zip me up in this and stick me in a car and think that I'm going to be happy with it. So I had to kind of go right back to the basics with that one. And then encourage him in with the treat, not zip it up, let him wander in and out. And then I zipped it up a little bit. Then I zipped it up the whole way. Then I took him out again. And sometimes you've got to kind of be patient and go right back to the beginning with things, haven't you?
Exactly that, yeah. So all puppies are different, as we know, and some of them are going to take everything in their stride, and you think that something is going to be an issue and they go, oh, this is fine, I don't mind going in the car. For other puppies, they're going to go, whoa, 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 you know, this is too much. And in this situation, exactly like you've done, we just need to break it down into smaller steps. So like you said, it could be the car isn't turned on, we have all the doors open and the puppy's just wandering around, sort of having a sniff, nowhere near the car, it's just there. Then we might sort of start encouraging them over with a bit of treats, letting them go away, come back, go away, maybe going in, all of those things. And again, just pairing it with really positive sort of things. Typically dogs like treats, they like chews, they like stuff like that. So we can use that to our advantage, pair the car with those things. And again, for those puppies who do enjoy the car, that's another great way of socialising, just going and driving to a car park outside a supermarket, have the puppy on your lap with some treats and just let people sort of watch the people coming in and out of the supermarket. Again, that's great exposure for socialisation if the puppy is sort of happy with the car.
And for puppies, I know you're not supposed to take them for sort of too long a walks, are you, early on? Keep those walks short. How important is it then to vary the locations that you go to make sure that they're used to lots of different environments, whether it's, you know, parks, whether it's out in the country, whether it's to a beach?
Yeah, so with sort of tiny puppies, obviously the first few weeks they're probably not going to be allowed to go out because of the vaccination status. However, they're in their socialisation window, so this might be a good time where if you can take them out in the car, brilliant, or you can carry them if they're small enough, a sling, something like that, so you can go exposing them to places, but you're holding them, they're not going on the floor. Sort of beyond that, when they are actually allowed to go for walks and sort of be walking on the ground, a lot of puppies find this quite worrying, something completely new to them. So for the first few walks, I would actually keep it very routine and just go to the same place. Make sure they're fully comfortable in that one area, you know, they're not showing any signs of being worried. Then we can add in another location and another location and another location, providing they are sort of taking it in their stride. If, again, there's any signs of worries, let's just make it really structured, go to that one place that you know really well and you're comfortable with.
And a key one we haven't talked about yet is socialising your dog with other dogs. And I was a bit worried when I first got Moose because, bless him, he's quite shy. I think I was worried about how he'd be with other dogs and how he might interact. So I took him to puppy classes actually because I knew it would be a good way for him to meet other puppies in a sort of similar environment, because he met one older dog and bless him, he was very excited. It's our friends who've got a golden retriever, and he just spent the whole time hanging off the tail of this golden retriever, and she put up with it very well, but sometimes they just don't really know necessarily how to interact with other dogs, do they? So what would you say are the top tips for making sure that your dog is good with other dogs? How should you manage those early opportunities to socialise with other dogs?
Yeah, so we want to teach our puppies sort of a range of social skills. So meeting other puppies is great because they are probably going to be a bit more playful. They're going to sort of learn different play styles, again, different breed types, that kind of thing. But it is also good to sort of socialise them with older dogs that are maybe going to be less up for a game, to teach them that actually no, we can switch off. It doesn't need to be interaction 100% of the time. We can mooch, we can disengage from one another. And also experiencing dogs but not being able to go and greet. You know, sometimes we end up with very frustrated adolescent dogs if they learn every time I see a dog, it's full rein and I get to go and say hi and greet them, because not all dogs are going to want to be greeted. So it's really about trying to get that mixture in. And you know, with meeting other puppies, I think a puppy class is a great way to do that, because typically they're all on lead, that it's a nice controlled environment. Hopefully the sort of people running the class have, you know, worked out who's going to be in that group to make sure they are all compatible with one another. What I would maybe avoid is the puppy parties where it's a free-for-all. You know, 40 puppies in one room, carnage.
No, I can imagine that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And when you're out and about, again, that was something I was really conscious of in the early days, because I thought I don't want him to have a bad experience with another dog. So I sort of tried to keep him away from meeting other dogs on dog walks, because I thought I'd rather be in situations where I manage when he's meeting other dogs. But how cautious do you think you need to be, especially with sort of the younger dogs, about them meeting other dogs on walks, and what you should watch out for?
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on, to be honest. If we don't know how that other dog is going to be, because our puppies are at such a vital sort of learning stage, we don't want them to be having negative experiences and getting worried with other dogs. So I think it's fine to avoid other dogs that you don't know. If you're sort of assessing the situation, you're at the park, you've seen that dog has politely greeted 5 other dogs, and you're thinking maybe that could be a good match, you could just say to the owner, are they okay with puppies? You know, have a bit of a conversation and then sort of make that decision. Typically, as a rule of thumb, I stay away from other dogs that are on lead in on a walk, just because we don't know why they're on the lead. It might be that they don't like other dogs in their space. But yeah, typically if you've got friends or family with nice, robust dogs, that's a place I would start personally.
Okay, great. Eloise, thank you very much for that. So just to summarise then, when it comes to socialisation, you know, think about a variety of people, a variety of places, noises. That was a really good tip that you were saying, that the Dogs Trust have, what is it, a playlist of noises?
Yeah, lots of different household noises and external noises in like audio files on their website.
So that's a great way to do it. And also think about car travel and how you manage that situation, and just you might need to go back to basics and you know, kind of be a bit patient when it comes to it. But all of those things are like the building blocks that will mean hopefully later on in life you have a very well socialised dog that's very chilled out in all situations. That's what we want, isn't it?
Exactly.
Eloise, thank you so much, and thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you again soon for another episode of Leaps and Hounds. All right, you didn't say sum up, but I kind of felt like we covered everything anyway.